When it comes to recycling,
reusing,
and repurposing,
you're not going to get any BS.
Well, actually you do. You get Brooks and Stephen.
Good point.
So we figured out a way to recycle, reuse, and repurpose everything around your house and showing you great tips and keeping you green all the way through.
Brooks and I were just talking about custom doors. Now, from what I've seen online, custom doors can run upwards of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And you're saying you want to just build one from scratch?
I'm saying you can build one for under $100.
For under $100?
What I've seen online, especially contemporary, you know, if you want to do contemporary, rustic, whatever it is, I'm going to show you briefly of what thinking outside the box can do with even doors.
And anybody could do this? Anybody with basic
skills and tools. I've tried to narrow this down to some very basic methods of building a door.
And I guess this is some of the stuff you have here for us.
Yeah. Now we're using birch plywood. We can use oak, we can use a number of different things. Birch plywood I chose for this particular look because the finish came out wonderful.
Nice.
Now, all I've done is I take a 1/2 inch sheet
and
another 1/2 inch sheet and a 3/8 piece of plywood that goes in between. Why? Doors are 1 3/8 thick. So whatever thickness I need, that's my in between. Now on a contemporary look too, anodized aluminum can be used. A basic aluminum can be used, and with sandpaper I can basically polish that out, a very fine sandpaper. So essentially what I'm getting is, there's my panels. I have my underside panel. I have my in-between 3/8 piece.
Okay.
I separate this if I want 1 gap, 2 gaps, 3 gaps. These gaps are to create a contemporary look in between with anodized aluminum.
Stagger them on the
And I just stagger them in between. So I lay my strip in, put my next one on.
Okay.
I'm using glue, simply gluing the panels in, and then clamping every single panel together. Now I'm going to let that dry for about 24 hours. Okay. I'm going to glue it nice and flat on a flat surface. Here I'm just using a sawhorse to show you that it's very possible with $65 to build your own door. Now how do we finish off those edges for plywood?
Well, from what I do, I know from furniture and cabinetry, you can just buy edge banding. It's easy to use, and you can use a household iron to put it on. All you do is heat it up, you set it in place, and it usually runs a little bit thicker. It runs a 3/4 inch, so it's usually thicker than what you're using. You can also get it in 2-inch rounds, and you just put it on and trim off the excess with a razor blade. Yeah. Very, very easy to do.
And then just sand the edges. And when you think about banding, all we want to really band is our exposed edges that are inside. Now on the outside of the door, because we have obviously hardware that goes into there, I took doorstop. All right, we can use pine, we can use oak, whatever we want to match this. Once these are all glued together, this is then glued and attached to my outside edges. This is your hinge side and your catch side.
Nice. Not only a perfectly clean edge, but it also surrounds the entire door.
Yeah, you can surround the whole entire door. I like to do just the sides.
Nice, yeah.
Left and right. Leave the top and bottom unfinished because top of the door, bottom of the door, we do not see.
Right.
We want a nice, even look. Once this is glued in place, we put this together within 2 to 3 hours. We then take it up into our area and we hang the door simply by attaching the hinges. Once the door is hung, we then bore the hole for the handset and we're pretty much set.
So you made a custom door basically in a day and a half, and most of that's the glue drying.
Yep. Now I can stain this natural, I can do a redwood stain, I can polyurethane it, I could use waxing paste on it. It's all up to you on how much you want to spend on a door. But this door that I found online, I like researching online, finding things I like and figuring out what can we do to use common materials to create custom looks that I would have spent $3,000, $4,000 on, say, a front door, maybe $1,000 on an interior door. I spent $65 on an interior door. Solid, good quality, and guess what? I use common materials that nobody else thought of.
You're giving homeowners the knowledge to basically save a couple $1,000s doing their own custom doors and the satisfaction of having done it themselves.
Exactly. And think about if I were to use this material and I have cutoffs.
Yeah.
That's what these are right now that I'm showing you. This is for a 24-inch door for a very small closet. I could create a door out of my cutoffs that virtually I would have thrown away and made it into my own door. Now I could leave these exposed areas and paint them. I could stain the grooves. I could have no grooves. I could have a solid door.
Yeah. You can do mirror, you can do glass, anything you want.
Anything you want to do.
Nice.
Look around your garage. When I go into a garage, I go through the paint section, I go through your stains, and I pull all that together, And then I think, what can I do with this? Well, I can take this and I can create a project simply out of our leftover waste or buying things you would never think of to create custom designer projects that are green, that are basically reusing and repurposing our materials around the house.
Absolutely.
And there you go. There you have it.